Hello all, welcome to another session in this course. As part of this session, I am going to cover the next topic, that is class-based inheritance in JavaScript. So the topic name is class-based inheritance. Class-based inheritance in JavaScript. So what is inheritance? First of all, you need to understand what exactly is inheritance means. Inheritance in real world, okay? If you're understanding the inheritance in real world, it means acquiring the properties from a parent to their children or grandparent to their descendants, okay? Is called as inheritance. In real world, what happens, guys? You generally acquire some properties from your parents or grandparents, right? Not only properties, you will acquire a lot of other stuff. You will inherit other properties, you will inherit the genes, you will inherit the health conditions, okay, and many other stuff. You inherit the behaviors and all those stuff. So from your parents or grandparents, in real time, you are going to inherit different things like money, behaviors, thinking process, or genes, genetics, whatever it may be, okay, health conditions, etc., etc. And also the same thing is possible in JavaScript also. In JavaScript you can create one class, and in this class you can have some properties. In this class you can have some properties like variables and methods you can have, and now you can create one more class, and you can make this class as a child class of this class, which is now, once you make this particular class as a child class, this will become a parent class. The parent class has some properties like variables and methods, and these variables and methods which are already created in the parent class no need to be created here because they will be inherited. Okay, so this is what is called as inheritance case. Okay, this is what is called as inheritance. Why inheritance is required in programming, in JavaScript or any programming language like Java or JavaScript? What is the reason for the inheritance? What is the purpose of the inheritance? Why a child class need to inherit the properties from the parent class? So these kind of situations will happen in real time, guys. Let's say there are multiple classes. Let's say there are multiple classes in your project. Okay, it may be any project. There can be multiple classes in your project where all these classes have the same properties. Okay, the same properties are there. The same variables and same method, same variable and same method, same variable and same method, same variable and same method. No matter how many classes are there, in all these classes, the same variables and methods are there. So instead of recreating these variables and methods across multiple classes, you can create a parent class and move these common properties across all these multiple classes into this parent class. Now, now what will happen, guys? The child classes, you don't have to recreate this same variables and methods or same properties in the child classes, because the parent class, I'm making this particular class as a parent of all these classes. Okay. So this is a parent of this class. This particular class having the same properties is the parent of this class. The class having this properties is a parent of this class. The class having this properties is a parent of this class. The class having the properties is a parent of this class. So what happens? You see, repetition is gone. And we moved the properties to the parent class, so all the child classes. This is what is a real-time need. Okay, in real programming, what is the real need of inheritance? Why to make a particular class, a child class of the another class to inherit the properties? This is a situation where this kind of situation arises where multiple classes have the same properties. Then you can simply create one more class and make that class as one more class, and whatever the repeating properties across multiple classes, you can move there and make that class as a parent class of all the classes. So this is how the inheritance, okay, this is what is a problem statement the inheritance can solve in any programming languages like Java or JavaScript. But now I'm going to show you how to implement class-based inheritance in JavaScript. For that, you have to use a keyword known as extends keyword. Okay, to implement class-based inheritance in JavaScript, we have to use a keyword known as extends keyword, which will make one of the classes a child class of another class. Okay, or one of the class as a parent of another class. Okay, so we are going to use this extends keyword. Okay, so let me do the practical demonstration now. For that, let me launch Visual Studio Code, and here for demonstration purpose, let me not have any classes here. Let me delete this. Let me not have any JavaScript files. Let me freshly create files here. So I'm just creating a new file, guys. I'll just name this as let's say demo.js, okay, whatever the name you can give. And here I'm going to create a class, guys. Name of the class is animal class. Like this, I created an animal class. You know that in any class you can actually create a constructor like this. In one of the previous sessions, I covered how to create how to create constructors in JavaScript. Okay, so in a class, you can actually create constructors. How to create constructors in a class, I showed you here. So now, this is a constructor, okay? This is a constructor, and here, this constructor has, let's say, name, color are there, okay? Name and color are there, let's assume, okay? So here I'll write down this dot name, okay? So I'm creating a variable property in this animal class like this and assigning the name. And this dot color, again another variable property and which I'm assigning with the color parameter. So this what is the thing, and I can also create some methods here, what can an animal do, each, okay? I'll say inside a class I need to create a, what I need to create, guys, I need to create a method each, okay? Like this, I'll create each, and here I'll write animal, okay, plus name. This dot name, you can say this dot name is eating. I'll say like this, okay? So I can create any number of properties here, let's say eating, sleep. If I call this method, I'll print it out, animal plus this dot name is sleeping. Okay, like this I'll write down. So this is one class I created, guys. Now I want to create one more class. I'll just want to create one more class. I'll just name this class as dog class. Okay. Now in the dog class, again I need to create the same properties. Now I want to create one more class, that is cat class. In this class also I want to create the same properties. I need to copy paste. Okay. See, in the dog class, we have the same properties which are there in the animal class. In the cat class also, there are total three classes: animal class, dog class, and cat class. In all these classes, we have the same properties, same constructor, same property, method, variable names and method names, everything is same. Instead of having them, what I can do is, if you don't want to recreate them in these classes, you can make this dog class extends animal. What will happen? The dog class will now become the child class of the animal class, guys. Dog class will become the, uh, child class of the animal class. Similarly, here cat class also I can do the same thing. Cat extends animal if I say, okay, cat extends animal if I say, the cat class also will become the child class of the animal class. So all these variables and methods will be now inherited by this child classes, that is dog and cat also. So here also, in the dog class, again, I'll create one more constructor. Okay. I'll pass one more constructor here. And in this constructor, I'll simply say constructor like this, I'll say. And here, mm, what I have to do here actually, basically, what I have to do here. Here, I want to pass name, color. Okay. Name, color, breed, or yeah, name, color, breed. Like this, if I pass, then what I can do here is I'll say super of name comma color. Okay, so here in the child class, when you create a constructor, okay, it is compulsory that first it should call the constructor of the parent class. Okay, so this will with super keyword, whatever you are writing will call the parent class constructor. In the animal class constructor, this will be called. When you create an object for the dog class, the constructor of the dog class will be called, and this constructor of the dog class will call the constructor of the parent class by passing this name and color here, and this dot name, this dot color will happen. And here I just need to only create one more variable, that is this dot breed is equal to breed. That's it. Okay, done. And here can actually create a method, let's say run, and here write down console.log. Okay, dog is dog is running, and here I'll write down constructor name comma color comma uh, you know um, is it a wild animal or something, wild or something? Okay, wild. And here again I'll say super. I need to when I create an object for the cat class, the constructor of the cat class will be called, and name, color, wild parameters arguments will be passed to this parameters, and this constructor need to call the parent class constructor having the name, color here. So just pass the name comma color here to the parent class constructor. After that, simply the extra variable you can do like this. Okay, you don't have to recreate this name and color in the dog class nor in the cat class, because they are the child classes. Now we can have this particular cat class, apart from inheriting this eat and sleep methods, can have its own method like climb method. Okay, let's create for sample console.log cat is climbing. Okay, now create an object for the dog class, guys. Now create an object for the dog class. How to create an object for the dog class? New dog, like this. When you create an object, you can simply say const dog is equal to new dog, or const d is equal to new dog. Here you need to, okay, const, okay. Here you can pass the arguments, guys. What are the arguments you can pass? You can pass name, color, breed. Okay. Uh, what is the name of the animal? Okay. Tom is the name of the animal. What is the color? Tom color is, it is a black color. Then, then here I need to call the breed also. Okay, let's say German Shepherd. Okay, just give something. That's it, guys. Here, when I create an object for the dog class, the constructor of the dog class will be called, and here Tom will go into the name, black will go into the color, German Shepherd will go into breed, and this superclass constructor will be called, that is Tom Black will go here. This dot name will become Tom. This dot color will become black. Okay, and eat and sleep methods, if you call, they will work fine. You see, if I call this dog dot eat, this method will be inherited from the parent class. From the animal class, the eat method will be inherited into the dog child class. Okay, then dog dot sleep, same thing. This method also will be inherited from the animal class into the dog class. And also you can call dog class its own method, that is run. So dog dot run, like this you can call. Okay, now if you run this code, so the variables and methods will be inherited into the dog child class, and because of which all these things are going to work. Okay, let me open here new terminal and simply write down node space demo.js, and you will see animal Tom is eating, animal Tom is sleeping, dog is running, got printed. Okay, right here, animal Tom is eating, animal Tom is sleeping, dog is running, all this got printed here. Similarly, you can create an object for the cat class and do the same thing. You can pass in place of wild, you can pass false or something. It's not a wild animal, right? Like that you can pass, for example, const cat is equal to new cat of, const cat is equal to new cat of, okay, berry, then it's a white cat, it's a white color cat, and then it's not a wild animal. Okay, now in this case, if I say cat dot eat method will be called, then cat dot sleep means, okay, sleep method will be called, cat dot climb means, okay, climb method will be called. Okay, so now we can run this node demo.js. You see, animal berry is eating, animal berry is sleeping, cat is climbing. Okay, all this got printed. Now, can a single class extend multiple classes? For example, a cat class extend not only animal class but also the dark class also. Can it extend? Can it become a child class of multiple classes? This is not possible in JavaScript, guys. Okay. So a class can only extend, okay? A class can become a child of only one class. A class can become a child class of only one class, okay, in JavaScript. So this is all about the class-based inheritance in JavaScript, guys. This is all nothing but class-based inheritance in JavaScript, guys. We can, instead of recreating this properties, variables, and methods in every class, you can, in all these classes like dog and cat, instead of recreating all this name, color, eat, and sleep properties, I just make this dog class a child class of the animal class. So all these properties will be inherited by the dog class. Similarly, all the properties will be inherited by the cat class. So with this, we are done with this topic, that is class-based inheritance in JavaScript. So that's all for this session. See you in the next session. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello. Welcome to another session in this course. As part of this session, I'm going to cover the next topic, that is method overriding in JavaScript. So let's get started. So what is method overriding in JavaScript? If you're coming from a programming background, like a Java programming language background, this session is going to be completely same. Okay, whatever we have seen in Java will be there in JavaScript with slight differences anyhow, the syntaxes and all. But the concept is overall same. But let me explain it from scratch. Okay, let me explain this from scratch. So what exactly is method overriding? Let me explain. For example, there is one class and there is also another class. Now, in the previous session, I covered about class-based inheritance in JavaScript, where one class inherits the properties from another class. So when one particular class or a kind of collection of classes inherit the properties from another class, the class from which the properties are getting inherited by other classes, okay, this is called as a parent class. And the class which is actually inheriting the properties from another class is called as child class of that other class. So this is what is inheritance, and how, like, using extends keyword and all, how to create classes and how to make a particular class become a child class of another class, already covered in the previous session in this class-based inheritance in JavaScript. Now, the next thing that you need to understand here is when a particular class is inheriting the properties from another class, this class is called as a parent class. This class is called as a parent class, and the class which is actually inheriting the properties from this class is called as a this is called as a child class. This is called as a child class. Okay, a class which is actually inheriting the properties from the parent class is called as a child class. That's correct. Now what if there is one method? Okay, here there is one method, guys. Let's say the name of the method is some sample method is there. Okay, assume that there's a method in the parent class. There is a method in the parent class with this sample name, and if the same exact same method having the same name is available, okay, exactly the same method, if it is available in the child class, this method is said to override the method in the parent class. Okay, if the child class which is actually inheriting the properties from the parent class has the exact same method of the parent class with the same name and all, then the method in the child class, this particular method in the child class, which is a replica of the method or which is exact copy of the method in the parent class, is nothing but called as a overridden method. Okay, overridden method, overridden method. Okay, the method in the child class is said to override the method in the parent class. Otherwise, you can also say method in the child class is overriding the method in the parent class. We can also say like this, okay? The method in the child class, which is having the exact same name in the parent class, is overriding the method in the parent class. Simple, okay? So what will happen? If this particular method is not there in the child class, for example, assume that this particular method is not there in the child class, and if you create an object for the child class and using that object reference, if you call this sample method, since there is no sample method in the child class and child class is actually inheriting the properties from the parent class method will be called. Even though you are creating an object for the child class using the object reference of the child class, okay, when you call the sample method, if there is no sample method in the child class, the parent class inherited method in the child class will be called. But what if there is exact same copy of the method in the child class, which is actually exact same copy of the method in the parent class? In that case, if you create an object for the child class and using the object reference, if you call the sample method, whether you see here there is a one thing, this method will be inherited in the child class, and this child class has the same exact method, its own exact method. So here, kind of, what you call, okay, ambiguity is there. Whether inherited method need to be called when I create an object for this child class, and using the object reference if I call the sample method, whether the inherited sample method from the parent to child class will be called, or child class its own method will be called. In this case, if the child class has a replica of the same method in the parent class, instead of the inherited method, the child class its own method will be called. This will not be called. Inherited method will not be called. What if the child class doesn't have this kind of method, okay, which is actually overriding the method in the parent class? In that case, this particular sample method which is inherited in the child class will be called when you create an object reference for this child class object, okay, using the object reference of the child class object. Inherited method will be called if the child class doesn't have the same exact method overriding the method in the parent class. Otherwise, the inherited method will be called. So this is what is the overriding concept at a high level, guys. Okay, theoretically. Let me make it practical, guys. Let me make it practical and let me explain this for you. So that let me open the Visual Studio Code. Once I launch the Visual Studio Code, and here I'll do one thing. Already, there is an animal class and all those stuff, and there is a dog class, which is a child class and all. Otherwise, I'll start it from scratch, guys. Why to confuse you all? Let me delete this and create a new file, JavaScript file. I'll simply say demo.javascript, and here I'm going to create a class animal class. Okay, in the animal class, I'm going to create a method. Okay, let's say eat method I'm going to create. And here I'm going to write console.log animal is eating. Animal is eating, I'll say. Now I'll create another class, say dog class. Okay, now I want to, let's say I want to make this dog class a child class of the animal class. How to do that? Extends animal. In this kind of situation, if I create an object for the dog class, which is a child class, dog class is a child class of the animal parent class. Animal class is a parent class, dog class is a child class. When I create an object reference, okay, dog is const dog is equal to new dog, like this. If I do, and using this object reference, if I call this eat method, even though this particular eat method is not there in the dog class, but the dog class is, since dog class is a child class of the animal class, this particular method will be inherited by the child class. So dog.eat means animal is eating. This particular method in the parent class, which is inherited into the child class, will be called. Okay, this is what will happen before overriding any method. Okay, this is what is a behavior that you will see before overriding any particular method in the child class. The child class doesn't have the overridden method. The method from the parent class will be inherited into the child class, and using the object reference of this child class, okay, when I call the it method, the inherited method by this child class will be called node. If I say demo.js here, you see animal is eating is coming. Okay, till now it's all good. But what if I create the same exact method? You see here also eat method in the parent class is there. The same eat method I'm creating in the child class. And here I'll write the code. A dog is eating. Now in this kind of situation, okay, guys, in this kind of situation, when there's a parent class and when I create a child class which is inheriting the properties from the animal class, animal is a parent class, and the child class has the same method in the parent class, this method in the child class is said to override the method in the parent class. And in this kind of situation, dog class is still inheriting the eat method into the, okay, from the animal class. Dog class is inheriting this eat method from the animal class into its class, and at same time dog class has the exact same method which is overriding this inherited method into the child class. So overridden method will be called when I write like this. Okay, when I create an object reference for this dog class, and using the object reference if I call the eat method, it will call the overridden method, not the inherited. There are two possibilities. One is inherited method by the child class, other one is its own method which is exactly same copy of this inherited method in the child class. So overridden method, okay, the method which is specific to the dog class, which is actually overriding the method in the parent class will be called in this case, even though I say dog dot eat, dog is eating will come here, okay? Dog is eating. If this method is not there, this method will be inherited into the dog class and animal is eating will come. So this is what is called as method overriding in JavaScript, guys. This concept is called as method overriding in JavaScript. What if you want to call if in case the dog class has its own eat method, which is a overridden method of the same eat method in the animal class. If in case you want to call the animal class eat method, you cannot do like this, okay? What you have to do here is you have to create an object for the animal class. Okay, directly you create an object for the animal class and using the object reference, if you call the eat method, in this case, since you directly create an object for the parent class method will be called there. You see, child class will inherit it, but parent class won't inherit anything from the child class. So the parent class method will be called if you are directly creating an object for the parent class like this. You see, animal dot eat means animal is eating will be printed. But if you say dog dot eat means the overridden method will be called instead of the inherited method. Okay, so that's a thing you need to understand. You see, animal is eating has been printed. Okay. So hope guys you understood the overriding concept in hope you guys understood the overriding concept in JavaScript. Just give me a second. Mm, okay, that's okay. Fine. That's all for this session, guys. Okay, method overriding in JavaScript. So see you in the next session. Thank you. Bye bye. Hello all, welcome to another session in this course. As part of this session, I am going to cover the next topic, that is using super keyword in method overriding in JavaScript. So let's get started. The topic is how to use super keyword when you implement method overriding in JavaScript. Super keyword in method overriding I'm going to cover in this session. Yeah. So in the previous session, I already have covered method overriding, how to implement method overriding in JavaScript, how to implement. I already covered how a child class can have the same method that is there in the parent class, how that method in the child class, which is same as the method in the parent class, is say to override the method in the parent class. I already have covered in the previous session, but I forgot to add one line there in the previous session that I'll cover in this session. That is, what is the purpose of method overriding, first of all? You see, there is a parent class and there is a child class. The child class is inheriting the properties from the parent class. Okay, the bottom one is the child class, the above one is the parent class. The child class is inheriting the properties from the parent class. Now the parent class has a method known as sample method. Let's assume that, for example, this has a sample method. The same sample method is now there in the child class also. Then the method, this particular sample method in the child class is said to override this sample method in the parent class. That we know that, right? Now, why we have to use method overriding? Why we have to implement method overriding in JavaScript? The reason behind that is if the child class want to have its own implementation, okay, even though this particular sample method can be inherited by the child class from the parent class, but the implementation need to be same, right? But what if you create the same method which is there in the parent class and the child class and can have a different implementation according to the child class needs? That's the main purpose. Method overriding is actually used in any programming language, that too in JavaScript also. Okay, the child class, the same method need to be implemented separately in this child class. In that case, we are going to override the method, guys. That is the purpose of the method overriding in JavaScript. Okay, when you override a method in JavaScript, and if you still want to call the parent class method which is overridden by this child class method from within the child class method, then we have to use a keyword known as super keyword that I'm going to cover in this session. For that, let me launch Visual Studio here and let me explain how to use a super keyword in method overriding to call the parent class method which is overridden by the child class. So already in the previous session I have written this code, guys. Already in the previous session I have written this particular code, okay, where we have the parent class and this is a child class, and the parent class has a method known as eat method. The same method is created inside the child class of this animal class, which is dog class is the child class of the animal class. The same method in the parent class is again recreated in the child class, but its implementation is different. The reason, what is the reason why this particular method is overriding this method in the parent class method? Because the child class want to have a separate implementation. Here you see dog is eating, but here animal is eating. Okay. Now the child class want dog is eating to be printed instead of animal is eating. In that case, the child class can override the method in the parent class so that it can have the same name as the method name in the parent class and can have different implementation. That's the reason why method overriding is required. Now, when method overriding is there, what if I create an object for the child class? If I create an object for the child class and using the new keyword and all, and I'll create an object reference and declare this object reference as const startlet, whatever it is, and using this object reference, when I call the eat method, which method will be called? This method which is inherited into the child class will be called, or a child class its own method will be called? The child class its own method which is overriding the parent class inherited method will be called. That means this method in the child class will be called having its own implementation, right? So if I go here and open this terminal here, okay, so I just move the terminal to the right side, guys. Okay, that's okay. Just right click here somewhere. Okay, so just give me some area, just right click here, and if you want to panel position to the bottom, it will come to the bottom, guys. But if you want it on the right side, panel position, right click somewhere in the blank area of this terminal bar and simply say panel position is right, so it will come to the right side, and you can adjust the width also. Okay, and like this you can see the code at same time you can see the output properly here. Okay, fine. Anyhow, let the code be like this, and here it will be, I'll just say what is the problem. Okay, yes, I'll say clear, guys, clear, and this is the thing. Okay, fine, now we are good. So what I will do here is what I'm going to do here is here I'm going to run this code. So node space, what is the name of the file and extension? Demo.js. If I run this, you see dog is eating is coming. This is all good. But what if when I call this overridden method, okay, using the object reference, the overridden method is being called, right? Now, when I call this overridden method, automatically if I want to call the parent class method also, okay, and then this statement should be run. So within the overridden method, if you want to call the parent class method, okay, from the method in the child class, if you want to call the parent class method, so here we have a keyword known as super keyword, guys. Okay, when method in the child class and method in the parent class have the same name, and if you want to call the method in the parent class, so there is an ambiguity, right? If I simply say eat means which method will be called? If I simply say eat means which method will be called? This method only will be called. Okay, what if I say super dot eat? In this case, which method will be called? Super means parent. Parent of the current class is animal, so parent class eat method will be called, guys. So even though I'm creating an object for the child class and using the object reference, when I call the eat method, this eat method will be called. But the first statement is super.eat. Using the super keyword, it's calling the parent class methods, eat method in the parent class. So first animal is eating will be printed. After that, dog is eating will be printed. If I run this code, you can see that animal is eating, dog is eating will be printed. So this is how we need to use a super keyword in a child class method to call the parent class method, guys. Okay. So hope guys you understood how to use super keyword in method overriding in JavaScript, and also hope you understood what is the purpose of using or implementing method overriding in JavaScript also I covered in this session. So that's all for this session. See you in the next session. Thank you. Bye bye.